Okay, so today we are going to cut our painted paper into flowers to glue a flower frame around our Frida Kahlo inspired self-portrait. So I want you to look at your painted paper, and you really want to make sure that you are drawing flowers to maximize the space on your painted paper. So you don't want to draw them right in the middle, because then you'd have to cut all the way into the middle to cut out your flower. You want to start on the side, that way you don't have to cut into the middle, and that way you don't have all this extra paper around bothering you while you're cutting out your flower. So you could always freehand cut, of course, which is when you start cutting just like this, making up how you're cutting your flower all on your own. But that takes some skill and some getting used to, and you might not feel like you're there yet. So if you feel like you're not quite there yet, you might want to draw a flower. And if you want to draw a flower, you want to make sure that you're flipping your paper over, because you don't want to draw on the pretty side. Otherwise, you'll have pencil marks all over your pretty side. And you just want to draw a flower close to the edge so that you don't have to cut all the way into the middle of your paper. And then when you cut it out, I'm going to cut it off of my big paper because that just makes it easier to cut to me. And it might make it easier for you to cut, so keep that in mind, that you can always cut your flower off of the big paper. All right, so you can see that I'm just tracing around the pencil marks with my scissors. All right, so I've cut out my flower, and see how you can still see the pencil marks? That's why we drew on the back, because now I can flip it over and I have a nice, beautiful flower. All right, now you might be thinking, Miss Leatherwood, that's gonna take me 1,000,000 years to cut out flowers from this whole paper. Well, the good news is you don't really need to cut out the whole paper. You just need to cut out enough flowers to create a frame border around your portrait. But I agree, it takes a really long time to cut out your flowers one at a time. So here is a super special trick that I have learned to cut out flowers. I'm gonna take a strip of my paper and I'm gonna fold it, and then I'm gonna fold it again. And then on a section of my paper that is the back side, so I'm gonna draw here instead of here because that's my front side. On a section of my paper that's my back side of my paper, I'm gonna draw a flower. And remember, you can always draw your flowers different. They don't all have to be exactly the same. And then I'm gonna cut through my paper. And it's gonna cut out several flowers at one time. Now remember, when you're cutting, we talked about this earlier in the year, you don't want to use the tip of your scissors because that's going to make it take forever to cut, and your cuts are going to be really little and jagged. You want to cut with the back part of your scissor, and that's really going to kind of chomp that paper, and it's going to make your cutting smooth, and you're going to be able to cut out a bigger section while you are cutting and moving your flower around. All right, so I'm gonna set that trash aside, and now you can see that I cut out 3 flowers at once. So that is a way that you can take up lots of time, use little bit of time to cut out lots of flowers. I'm gonna move all my trash away, and I'm gonna cut out some more of this. Okay, once you've got lots of flowers cut out, then you can start gluing them down. I think it's a good idea to put down your bigger flowers first. So if you've got lots of different sizes, which I hope you do because that's gonna make it more interesting, pull out your biggest flowers first and glue those down, and then you can glue littler flowers on top of it, and that will create some nice layering and give you a really nice look. So I'm gonna take my glue stick and I'm gonna get a little glue, and I'm just gonna put some glue down one side of my portrait, and I'm just gonna start putting flowers down. You can see that it's okay if it overlaps, and since I don't have as many big flowers as I do little flowers, I'm gonna kind of spread them out so that they are all over my page. Put some more up here. And some more here. All right, and then I can start adding in my smaller flowers, and I'm gonna save my littlest flowers for last. So I'm gonna let you guys work and start gluing down your flowers, and I will work on my flowers, and I'll show you what it looks like when I am finished.